Good morning, dear students. You have read chapter 1, A Letter to God, from your book First Flight, and you have also done question answers. So today we'll be doing the introduction, theme, and value points of the story. Dear students, take these as quick revision notes. Introduction. Lancho was a farmer. He was an extremely hard-working man. However, his crop was destroyed in an exceedingly hailstorm. He had a firm belief in God. He thought that God would surely help him. Thinking this, he wrote a letter to God. He asked God to send him some money. At the post office, the master read Lancho's letter. He and the other postmen of the post office wanted to help Lancho. They collected some amount to help him and placed the collected amount into an envelope. The next Sunday, Lancho came to check whether there was any letter for him. The master gave him that envelope. Once Lancho opened the envelope, he found the cash, but it was less than what he had requested for. He wrote another letter to God. He asked God to send him the rest of the money, but he asked God not to send it by post because the post office employees were a bunch of crooks. Theme of the story. This is a story of a hard-working farmer, Lancho. He is expecting a good harvest this year if it rains. The rain does come, bringing brief happiness. However, a hailstorm follows the rain, destroying all his crops. Being deeply hurt, he looks toward God. Having an unshaken faith in God, he writes a letter to him demanding 100 pesos. This amount is sufficient enough to sow his crop again. He posts it. The postman has a hearty laugh when he reads it and shows it to the postmaster. The postmaster, being a generous man, decides to help Lancho. He gives a part of his salary and collects money from the employees. He sends 70 pesos to Lancho. Lancho's happiness was momentary when he counts the money. God can't deceive him. It is the work of post office employees. He writes another letter to God asking him not to send the remaining 30 pesos by mail as post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Now some quick value points of the story. Lancho was a farmer. His house was the only house in the valley and on the top of a hill. Lancho's fields needed rain for a good harvest. He looked expectantly at the sky, and it did rain at last. The drops of rain were like the coins for him. But his happiness was short-lived as very large hailstones began to fall after the rain. The hailstones destroyed all the leaves on the trees, plants, and flowers. There would be no crop that year. There was a single hope, help from God. On the following Sunday, he wrote a letter to God. He needed 100 pesos to sow his fields again and to live until the new crop came. He wrote to God. I repeat, dear children, he wrote to God on the envelope and put the letter into the mailbox. The postman laughed heartily and took it to the postmaster. The postmaster laughed too, but soon he became serious. He decided to reply to the letter and help Lancho. He collected 70 pesos only from his employees and himself contributed a part of his salary. He put the money in an envelope and posted it to Lancho. Lancho had an unknown faith in God and he was not surprised when he received the money. His happiness was turned into anger as there were 30 pesos short of the money. Lancho could never believe that God could ever deceive him. So he wrote another letter to God, reminding him that he received only 70 pesos sent by him. He asked God not to send the rest of 30 pesos through the mail as the post office employees were a bunch of crooks. Thank you, dear students, and have a wonderful day ahead.